Well, hey, we finished that early years podcast, and then we said, you want to do another one? You want to talk about another part of our lives and stories of our lives? And so we're back with you again. You can't get rid of us that easy. What would you say would be a goal of what we're doing right now? What would be your goal?
Well, let me preface it with this. So Rick has been asking me to do this for a while, and I'm a behind the scenes person. I would rather be serving you coffee than sitting in this chair. And so I've kind of said, no, let this be your thing. I'll support you, but no. And then last night I just couldn't sleep, was like anxious, and I didn't even know what it was about. So finally I felt like I heard God say, get up, I want to talk to you. So I got up, and if the Lord wakes me up at night, I usually get my phone because I want to write down so I remember what he's saying to me. And I got my phone and went and sat in the living room. And he started talking to me and about many things. But then I started praying for Rick and this podcast, that God would bring him a partner, that someone that he could do this with. But I knew it wasn't me. And the Lord checked my spirit and said, how do you know it's not you? And then I knew that was the Lord telling me, no, you need to do it. So that's why I'm here today doing this. So just to preface that, this is out of obedience to him, because he wants us to do this. I don't know what I want to come out of this, other than I hope people want to know Jesus more. Or if people are having struggle in their marriage, whether they've been married 1 year or 50 years, that they would know that with the love and the hope of the Lord, they can have such a wonderful relationship. Don't give up. That's exactly what the enemy wants you to do. That's what I would hope.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. That probably, you've got a pure heart, honey. And your motivations have always been right. They've always been true and faithful to me and faithful to our God. And that's really why I wanted you to do this with me. I've asked you to do all kinds of things with me.
Tell them some of the things you've asked me to do.
Well, I bought you hip waders and
for my birthday
and a fishing pole so you could fish with me. I thought for sure she'd like to fish with me. I took you hunting.
Yes. One and only one night.
Yes.
We'll never do that again.
Well, why don't you go ahead and tell that story then?
Okay, so when he goes hunting, he goes horseback riding back into the hills. So him and I, there was nobody else, and 4 horses. So you ride a horse, and then there's a pack horse. And I love horses, but I love to pet their face and give them treats and all that. Riding them is scary to me. Especially these horses are big horses, they're pack horses. So he begs me, and we're teaching young married Sunday school class, and he gets up in front of them over and over again and says, Debbie won't go hunting with me. So finally I go, okay, if I'm going to be true to this class, I should go with Rick. So I decide to go. It was horrible. It was, so we're riding the horses back, and I'm just tense all the way. And we get up, he has a tent up there, which it's freezing cold. at night. I mean, it's ice. It's not just cold, it's ice. So we get up there and we drop off all our stuff and 2 of the horses, and then we take the horses at dusk back up in the mountains so he can get his scope out and start looking for animals. And it's dark by the time we leave. We're in the mountains. There's bears out there. I see bear manure all the way on the trails. And now we're going back to the tent in the dark in the mountains with these bears. I am scared to death. I'm really not an adventurous person. So this is way out of my box. And so we get back and you fix me a nice dinner on the fire and we go to bed. Didn't really sleep that night. It was the longest night of my life. You tried to make me comfortable, but there was just no getting comfortable. Yeah. And then he gets up, because you have to get up before the sun comes up, and leaves me in the tent with the food in bear country. And I realized he takes the gun. What good the gun would have done anyway. I wouldn't have known what to do with it. I mean, I wouldn't have known, but I probably would have shot myself. And so now I'm just laying there thinking, oh my goodness, dear Lord, protect me, keep the bears away from this tent. It was just scary. And then I hear a gun go off, and I'm like, is that Rick? Is that somebody else around here? I was just petrified. Finally, you came back. You had gotten a deer. So now I had to go up with you with the pack horses to go get the deer out of the mountain and pack it out. So I have to hold on to his horse, my horse, while he's cutting the animal up and getting it on the on the back of the horse. And then on our way out, he has the buck facing my horse on the rear end of his horse. And it's spooking my horse all the way back out. It would just jump when it'd see that. And when it jumped, I jumped. I mean, it was just nerve-wracking. I was never so happy to see your truck as I was that day. And that was it. Never again.
So that was the end of the hunting episode, wasn't it? That really went over like a lead balloon.
And then you took me out to the desert.
You didn't like that? So then I thought for sure she would love doing the Baja 1000 and 500 and those type of things with a trophy truck. And you know, it's dust, mud, drinking, cussing, everything you can think of, which is just totally opposite of Debbie and whatnot. But you were a trooper, and you went along with a lot of those, because I did that for about, I think, 6 years. I think it was that I did that, and you were a trooper, and you put up with that for, I think, about 4 of the 6. But that was another one that I wanted to do. So I've always wanted to do something with you, because I want to be with you. I want to be with you.
And I knew that. It's just like, let's go to the mall.
Yeah.
Go to dinner or go to the mall.
Yeah.
Or I like to travel with you.
Yes, I like to travel too.
I'm very excited. We're going on a Norwegian cruise in a month.
That'll be fun.
And you know, I love to travel. Love certain places. Mm-hmm. So that's fun.
Yeah.
But some of those, I'm not an outdoorsy person, and I'm not an athletic person. So those kind of things just don't.
Yeah,
I try.
They don't ring your bell, do they?
No.
Not like they do mine. I like all those type of things.
Mm-hmm.
That's fun. Isn't that something? Opposites. Opposites. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't like, I mean, you tried some of those things. You may have only done them once and whatnot, but those early years, I can remember leaving to go hunting with you with 2 little kids, and I didn't even think about it. I'm sorry that I did that.
That's okay.
I just did my own thing, and that's a regret. I have so many regrets, but for what God has done in my life and in our lives together, I would trade the past for sure. But it's been so much fun. It really has been fun.
But here's the thing. If other people can get this that are struggling, because it was hard. Mm-hmm. It was really hard. People would ask me and say, just pray for your husband, just pray. So for many years, I prayed, and then God got a hold of you through a vision and through other things that totally changed the person you are today from what you were the first 20 years.
Yeah.
And it's all worth it. There was a lot of good times mixed up in with the difficult times, and you were always a fun person to be with. If you just lived with me, it'd probably be boring, and you won't have a boring life when you're with Rick Massie. He's going to find something fun to do. And so those things were great. And then in the hard times, you just keep bringing it before the Lord, because the Lord will do it. You have to be patient. You have to be patient with, it doesn't always happen tomorrow. But if just pray for your spouse, just pray that God will capture their heart and will show them the things that he needs to show them. Mm-hmm. And I didn't even know what God needed to show you. I knew you loved the Lord. You just didn't really know the Lord or have that real relationship with the Lord. Mm-hmm. And so when that happened, it was an incredible, amazing change in your life.
Yes, it was.
So much so that even our kids were they were still at home, and they were like, what's happened to Dad?
Yeah, I remember those days.
Because you changed so much so fast. He was on a hunting trip up in Canada, or was it Alaska?
Canada.
It was Canada. When God, you'll have to share that sometime on one of these podcasts, the vision God gave you, because it's incredible. But you came home a changed person, truly changed. Mm-hmm. And that was the Lord.
Yeah.
And I believe that's answers to prayers.
Yeah. I believe it too. Because I wasn't searching, I wasn't looking or whatnot. It's all I can say, it's the goodness of God. He rescues us. And you don't even, I think there's, guys especially, sometimes I wonder, did I even know how lost I was? Did I even know? Because I wouldn't do something, I don't think, that would be deliberately hurt you.
No, you wouldn't have. It was just
not
your
deliberate.
Selfishness wanting to do what you wanted to do.
I just wanted to do what I wanted to do.
It didn't mean you didn't love me. It just meant that came before.
Yeah. But that changed.
It really did. God really changed you.
When I came home, I know we've talked about this, about how, I really don't believe that you can love anyone until you realize and receive the love of God. Mm-hmm. Once you receive the love of God, then you're able to produce true love.
You're able to love others the way God meant you to.
The way it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And so because I remember coming home. I can still remember that. And that was how many years ago? I was 40.
You were 40.
I was 40. So it's 34 years ago that I came home, and I remember looking at you, and I loved you differently.
Mm-hmm.
And I
You told me
remember
that.
looking at the kids and how I loved them. And oh, how I love them now.
Mm-hmm.
But it was from a different place, if that even makes sense, of when the love of God is received, when you receive it. You know, I'm a transactional guy, a business person, and so forth. And a contract is not complete or perfected. Maybe is a better word. Is the perfected.
Mm.
And I really believe God is constantly offering this perfect love to us. It's constantly. I don't care if you're a man or this is more manly stuff than anything.
Mm-hmm.
But He's offering you this perfect love, the love of God that's unconditional, the love of God that He loved you while you were yet a sinner. It's not because you changed. I didn't change. And so He gave me His love. He brought His love to me, and I was changed.
Mm-hmm.
And so that perfect love, well, perfect love is not perfected. I don't even know if this makes sense, but perfected love is when you receive the love. The love that you want to give somebody is received, and they receive it. Now it's perfected. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
It's completed. And so that's the way I look at what happened to me. The perfect love of God was exposed to me. And for the first time in my life, I received it. And it was like, oh my gosh, this is it. This is what I want. Because from this flows a love to my wife, to you, Debbie, to the children, to people around me, and so forth like that. So to me,
You know what else is included in that, though? Not just you receiving the love of the Lord, but because you really had a passion to know the Lord.
Yeah.
You spent time, you started reading the Bible through.
Mm-hmm.
You'd never done that before.
Yeah.
And you had a hunger
Mm-hmm.
to know Him.
Mm-hmm.
And that knowing Him changes you too.
Yeah.
Because you start to know Him.
Yeah. Well, you remember when I came home, I started reading the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
And I started it at the beginning, and I read it through to the end. And then I started over, and then I read it through to the end. I remember the third time I read it, I go, oh my gosh. I recognized that Joseph is a type of Jesus. I recognized the personality of God, the personality of Jesus, the personality of the Holy Spirit. And that was because I got to know them. Mm-hmm. I really believe, we've talked about, I was 14 years old, and I remember asking Christ to come into my life. I remember the metal folding chair with a stencil on it that said property of Bethel Temple on it. And I remember asking in forgiveness. And I really believe that what happened then was, yes, I was saved. But I just shook the hand That's all I did. I just shook his hand and said, "How do you do?" And that was it. And ever since that time, my life was revolving around me. Me. You were trying to break in, but it was me. It was me. God was trying to break in and come into a relationship with me, but it was me. And then I let him come close. Somehow he came close on that hunting trip. And he came close, and I let him in, and now he's the center, and my life revolves around him. Our marriage revolves around him.
Do you remember? Because after you had that dream, you had another dream the next night, and you asked the Lord to explain the dream.
Mm-hmm.
And when you were done, this is all from what you told me, that you asked the Lord, how come you didn't do this years ago? I'd have been a different father. I'd have been a different husband. I'm changed. And what was the Lord's answer to you?
The answer to that was, never before has your spirit or your personage been a place that I could occupy or come into. And it was on that hunting trip, out of the boredom, I wasn't searching, but out of the boredom, I started to ask questions on horseback. A guide was over here, and I would row that horse up, let him get a little bit further ahead of me, and then I'd go, well, I want to know this. Is this just history of my family? Am I just following tradition of my family with God, with salvation, with church? Is that what this is? I want to know if you're real, if you're this, if you're, I was just talking. I call it like talk prayer, it's not like, but it's talking and listening. And I don't think I learned it that night, but now that's my whole prayer life, is to listen more than I talk. Because you can't learn when you're talking. You learn when you listen. And so I was asking those questions, and pretty soon I was getting answers on that horseback and so forth. And then I knew he was real. This was real. This God thing. This thing is not just a family tradition passed down or something like that. That he is real. He is real. And I think without me going, I want to dream. I didn't have a dream. I didn't have a desire for anything like that. And then he visited me one night, and my life has forever been changed.
It was days of hours and hours and hours on those horses.
Yeah.
Because the weather was bad, and you just took you out and rode all day. And you told me that those hours on the horse got you to where the next day you didn't even care about hunting.
Oh, I didn't care one
You
bit.
just wanted to get on the horse to get alone with the Lord and have these conversations. So then you were seeking. As he came close to you, then you were seeking
Well,
him. When
I say I wasn't seeking him, in other words, it wasn't like, well, I'm going to go up to the mountains, and I'm going to lock myself in, or a barn somewhere or a cabin somewhere, and I'm just going to seek God. I'm going to figure this out. I want to know. That wasn't it. I got bored riding that horse.
But your life changed, because from that point on, you had a prayer closet. You were seeking him. You knew where to go for the answers. You knew that you wanted to build a relationship with Jesus.
I knew it then. I knew, for real. We're out of time again. It goes fast, doesn't it?
It does.
It does go fast. Well, honey.
This has been fun.
It has been fun.
I hope whoever listens to this, that this speaks to you somehow, some way. I hope it helps you somehow, some way.
Mm-hmm.
Because life is a journey.
It is a journey.
It's a journey. And we are all learning,
Mm-hmm.
continually, still learning.
Don't give up.
Mm-hmm.
Don't give up.
Give it.
If God could turn me around, he can turn anybody around.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for putting up with me.
You're welcome.
I love you, babe.
I love you too.